Mortem, get your ass up. Stop being so lazy and work for once.
Alright, okay. I suppose I should finally contribute something. Alright, let's see what's posted. Gotta get a good feeling of what this channel is gonna be. What the? Fishy! And the second video is a Christmas video? And it was posted 3 weeks after Christmas? Okay, that's it. I'm going back to sleep.
Where the hell do you think you're going? Get back to work.
Jeez, fine, okay, fine, what? Hey, wait, get to work? That gives me an idea. Hi everybody, I'm Mortem, and you may not be able to tell from my current living situation, but I'm actually a co-founder of Wack Or Lit, along with Josh. But you see, I'm kind of, how you say, dead. And people don't really like looking at me, so they keep me down here. But my contract also specifies they have to let me make a video every once in a while, so they're stuck with me. Yay. So I'll be reviewing Going Under, an action comedy roguelike that was released on September 24th, 2020. Now you may be like, Mortem, how do you even play action roguelikes with your stinky, rotting zombie hands? They require dexterity and hand-eye coordination to play, and you can barely pick up a piece of toast without 3 of your fingers falling off. And to that I say, you're not wrong, but you're very hurtful. But yeah, if I'm being honest, I don't really like roguelikes. That's definitely more of Josh's thing.
No, wait.
They take a level of skill I just don't possess, and every time I die, I feel like I just wasted the last 20 minutes of my life and got nothing out of it. Then they want me to do it all again with the exact same tedious gameplay, with the minor differences like stat buffs or something. Now, the common argument against that is that progression in those types of games is all based on the player's skill increasing. But my counter argument is, yeah, that's cool if your skill increases. Mine does not. I keep dying to the same stuff. And they may be like, Mortem, why are you droning on about all this? Why should I even sit through a review by a man who doesn't even like the genre? And to that I say, despite all odds, I was actually really surprised about the quality of Going Under and how it addresses all of my problems with roguelites. But how does Going Under subvert all these hated tropes? Well, to find out, you'll just have to stick through and watch the rest of this video. Or not. I guess you could go read the comments or something. Okay, I'm not really one for history reports. That's more of Josh's thing. And, that's alright and everything, but I'm really busy and I don't really have time to research anything. The Wack Or Lit guidebook here clearly says I need to talk about the game's history. Okay, let me just... Then I'll just... here we go. Nick Kamen and Kaylin Pollock have been working together in game dev for almost 5 years. Based in their home city of Seattle, inspired by their college years spent living in a madhouse of startup bros, they set out in January 2019 to satirize their rapidly growing and changing city in video game form, because that's all they really know how to do. Joined by Joanna Lynn, Felix Peasley, Sam Stick, and Louise Mello, the project quickly took off and landed Team 17 as its publisher. Nearly 2 years later, the end result is Going Under, a fantastical yet all too real send-off of startup culture and the world of constantly changing technology we live in. Plus, it's a pretty fun game. That's their words, not mine, so... Yeah, that was easy. Imagine you worked as an intern at Amazon. Okay, so gameplay is kind of like... What? What? Alright, fine, I'll tell the story properly. Okay, I'll be totally upfront about this. The story was honestly the hardest part of this review to write. Don't get me wrong, it's not because of a lack of story or poor writing. I actually really like Going Under's story, and unlike most other roguelikes, you don't have to spend hours pondering and cooking up piles of theories to make even a glimpse of what the story might be. It's just that, as a personal review philosophy, I dislike story spoilers. When I see a good story, I want others to experience it with me and not have to worry about this or that. And so my goal setting out for this review was to make a spoiler-free, or as spoiler-free as I can get it. Going on that, I will only cover the basic starting story premise of the game, but I do promise that as it goes on, it is pretty great. You don't play as another dime a dozen wordless adventurer trekking through some mysterious new unknown world. You play as Jackie, a fresh college grad who foolishly thought that when you sign up for an internship about advertising, you'd get to learn about advertising. Like all internships, instead of getting to do internship things, instead you meet Marv, your supervisor, who insists that you go down and clean out the offices of 3 failed startup businesses filled with monsterized creatures who used to work there. Yes, that's right. They built your office building on top of 3 other failed office buildings. Design 101. Now, you don't work for the good of the people. Instead, you work for Fizzle, a hot new startup producing sodas that are designed to both quench your thirst and also supply you with all the nutrition you need to live, effectively also replacing meals. And instead of interacting with normal people, you interact with this thing. Swoop. He has no fingernails. So imagine you are this lonely guy, alright? And nobody loves you because for some reason you have this weird, off-putting obsession with sharks. So you embark on a quest to find love with a variety of anthropomorphic shark women with big, fleshy, corpulent, little, hot ta-ta. Well, if you were looking forward to that, I'm sorry to break it to you, pal, but this game is nothing like that. But maybe if you want that, or something has awakened inside of you, and your interest has been piqued, then may I point you to Shark Dating Simulator XL Plus. Have fun, buddy. Look, if you're looking for a mental itch satisfying, ever-changing action roguelike, then you are watching the right review, man, because baby, Going Under scratches that itch. Kind of. Mostly. Look, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I'm not typically a huge roguelike fan. I often find them way too hard, and I'm not a fan of running through the same old areas again, be it randomly generated or not. Just to die and waste 30 minutes of my time doing the same thing I did before with minor changes and no tangible progress. But miraculously, Going Under kinda solves all my problems with roguelike games. It's crazy. First, repeatability. Roguelikes can be agonizing to beat, and repeatability is one of the biggest factors in this. Often, in roguelikes, you'll do these runs, and depending on the roguelike, they can be long. And to combat player fatigue and display progress, many developers will have runs go through stages. With stages being different themed areas, you'll have to navigate through with increasing difficulty, typically adding new traps, enemies, and mechanics. Adding different stages is a really good idea. It keeps the game fresh and adds increasing difficulty that keeps you challenged and on your toes as you get more uncomfortable with the mechanics of the game. The only problem is, you may play and fight hard to get to one of these later stages just to die. And yes, dying is an essential part of the game. It would be pointless if you just all of a sudden couldn't die. Okay, well that's different. The problem isn't dying, it's the fact that every time you do die, you have to slog back through the earlier stages to reach the cool new stuff you just discovered. Now you may be like, that's part of the fun, Mortem. That's the way the cookie grumbles. You have to put something in, cookie grumbles, cookie grumbles, mookie bumbles. But counterpoint, what if you're in high school just chilling? and you have an unlucky streak and receive a few Ds. Then, as a punishment, Big Daddy Principal calls you to his office, slaps you with a big fat game over, and swings you back to kindergarten, and you end up sitting there like a goose singing your ABCs. And yeah, it would be easy and maybe even a little fun to have a little nap time and chill with the homies in Milky Hour, but at the end of the day, you have to start from the bottom and repass all the grades, and it would be tedious and time-consuming, and you would still spend all your time thinking it was tedious and a waste of your time. And that is how I feel about typical roguelike progression. But, Going Under actually solves that problem for me. Instead of the game consisting of one long dungeon crawl through 6 different areas, Going Under splits the typical roguelike themed sections into their own dungeons that you can choose to enter anytime, instead of having to play through the prior ones before you get to attempt the new stuff. And I find this keeps gameplay really fresh, and you get a benefit of the roguelike themed areas without the hassle of repetition. And while it's debatable on how many of these dungeons the game has, I'd say it has 3 main ones consisting of 3 floors and a boss each. And each main dungeon also has a hard mode, which does change up the dungeon mechanics a fair bit. This may make the game sound on the lighter side content-wise, but I'd say that the game actually contains maybe the perfect ratio to variable content themes and game time. I love the game, and I love the theming. I don't know if I'd want it to be much longer than it currently is. I need my games to keep feeling fresh when I play. I like variety, and the longer a game goes on, the more variety it needs to keep me engaged. Going Under hits this line perfectly. Unlike other roguelikes, where differently themed areas usually just contain separate enemies and a few new obstacles, Going Under's separate dungeons contain different versions of just about everything, from new enemies and obstacles to weapons, shops, and dungeon-specific challenges. Going Under always keeps things moving in a way I just don't see in other roguelikes. Speaking of weapons, Going Under uses an ever-cycling weapon system, much like Super Hot or Breath of the Wild. You never enter a dungeon with a weapon, you always have to grab weapons from your environment or defeated enemies. And this really adds a lot to the pacing and excitement of a run. You also have the ability to carry 3 weapons at a time, which allows you to add some strategy. Do you save your good weapons for the boss, or do you use them now and just grab more later? Plus, the game also carries an app system, which works much like potions in most games, but with crazier effects. But, it wouldn't be a roguelike without gameplay-changing perks that you amass through a run. And man, has this game got some funky perks. A lot of them are play on words with business terms, but then you've got a few such as Go-Getter, Keep It Simple Stupid, Hot Friends. The skills also have really funny descriptions, such as Downsized with I'm Baby, or Explosive Temper with Seriously, I'm at my limit. My only qualm with perks in this game is, unlike most roguelikes where you can synergize and pick your perks based on each other to try to build something really cool, you don't really get to do that in Going Under. Yeah, you get to choose your perks every once in a while, but there aren't really perks that synergize well together. I really only found myself taking my favorite perks, and that's just about it. On the bright side though, the game contains a perk mastery system, and once you have found and used a perk in the dungeons enough, you master it. Once you have mastered some perks, you're allowed to start off your runs with one mastered perk of your choice, though I always find myself starting with the same speed boost perk. So while the main gameplay goal is to defeat all the dungeons, most of the gameplay loop and fun actually comes from the mentor system. The game presents 5 mentors, each with their own specific quest lines themed around their unique personality. This adds a lot of charm to the game and reveals a lot of the history of the characters and organization. After you complete some of the mentor quests, you unlock the ability to choose a specific mentor as your main mentor. Depending on which mentor you choose, it gives run-changing advantages within the dungeons. Though, you can only choose one at a time. As you complete a mentor's quest line, you unlock more and more benefits from that mentor with crazier and crazier effects. I love the way this game looks, and while at first glance it may look like the 3D models are just a bunch of taped together pool noodles, it actually gives the game a unique charm. 3D models can be extremely hard and expensive to create, especially if you're going for a more realistic creative direction. But Going Under has this perfect combination of cartoony and recognizable. And while the models are simplistic, they're also instantly identifiable. There's also a sense of style in aspects of the game. Loot is found in cardboard boxes. Instead of potions, there are apps. Dungeon challenges are all themed around the specific company the dungeon belongs to. And even notifications on picked up perks and challenges pop up at the bottom, like texts. It's all neat. Just like the art, the music is all very stylized. It's all done lo-fi, and, don't ask me what that means or what it is, but all I know is I like it. It fits the mood and tone of the game, and, it's catchy. In fact, all the music that you've been listening to throughout the review comes from Going Under. If you want to check it out, the full Going Under soundtrack is available on the official Aggro Crab YouTube channel, which is linked in the description. In fact, while you're at it, if you're really interested, why don't you go check out the lo-fi chill beats to work/slay enemies too? So, you play 3 dungeons in their hard modes, and then you go beat the final boss. And for a while, that was it. There were plans for a 4th dungeon with a completely new atmosphere and company based around it, but...
Yo, AV, tell them the bad news.
Going Under didn't make enough money.
The game sadly didn't earn enough money for the studio to dedicate that much time for it. So, they had to move on or face bankruptcy. But, not before adding their first and final major content update. Hey guys, remember COVID? Hubbada, 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 hubbada. Well, a lot of office workers had to social distance and move from the office to... working from home. Update. Haha, get it? Now, I know it may sound like I was making fun of the name and its kind of dated correlation to a current trend, but just like every other joke and pun in the game, I actually do love it. And it's very poignant, too, because this update added the ability to visit Jackie's home. Or I guess her apartment. Her tiny one-roomed apartment. This game just gets more and more realistic. But it's not just a room. It's a room where you can do things, huh? Over near her desk, you can assume the position and listen to any of the tracks in the game. There's also a little dresser where you can change Jackie's outfit, unlocking more outfits based on milestones reached in the game. This one's my favorite. She's a cute demon girl. And I like that. And the final thing in Jackie's Apartment of Wonders is the Mystery Mirror of Mysteries, otherwise known as Impostor mode, our big ticket item we'll get back to after covering the smaller stuff. Okay, quick, going down the patch note checklist here. The update also contained 25 new skills, 9 curses, 24 new items, a new app, a new fizzle flavor, and other, quote, quality of life stuff. Oh, and a bestiary, but that deserves its own paragraph. So, some games you come across may have this bestiary, otherwise known as a monster manual. And they usually tell you about a monster's stats, attack patterns, and if you're lucky, maybe some lore. Well, in Going Under, instead of a bestiary, you have a Rolodex. And instead of pages of strategic monster killing information, you get business cards with funny jokes and backstories on them. But in, this modern 7-second world, I do prefer the business cards. How do you unlock these business cards? Well, just like real life, you have to earn business cards by being great at business and also getting into closets, getting special giant blank business cards, and throwing them at your enemies. You can also get mentors business cards by completing their quest lines. And I just gotta say, Swamp's card changed my life. So, maybe this game is starting to sound promising, but hey, you're a roguelike traditionalist. You don't like these miniature dungeon excursions and prefer long grind fests where it's all on the line. Well, you're in luck, my friend, because of the aforementioned Impostor mode is kind of a side mode based on traditional roguelike experiences. You don't bring anything in with you, and you have to descend through a gauntlet of all 3 dungeons in a row, ending with a new boss fight with the Impostor. Now, don't ask me about what the boss fight is like, because, I've never made it there before, due to my previously mentioned rotting zombie hands. I lack the coordination to beat it. Besides just being a dungeon gauntlet with an extra boss fight, there are a few other twists. As you go down, you'll start with the easy version of dungeons, and then you'll kind of switch to the hard version that you unlock halfway through the game, and they kind of mix those together. Instead of entering with the mentor's benefits, you'll come across special rooms where you can choose to buy the benefits of a specific mentor. And as you go deeper into the dungeon, you'll get the ability to buy better and better mentor benefits. But perhaps even these twists won't stop you from being a god gamer and beating the gauntlet, and now you're still thirsting for a challenge. Well, you're in luck, for much like Slay the Spire's Ascension mode in Peglin's Crucible, every time you beat a run of Impostor mode, you unlock a harder difficulty of it, each adding new twists and challenges. And I'm sure the twists in this are really cool, but, yeah. Going Under is a really funny, creative game with a unique sense of style and humor that permeates into every crack of its essence. The gameplay constantly feels fresh, it has a great difficulty curve, memorable characters, and contains a unique and fitting music and art style. I happily give Going Under a lit and honor it with the highest award a Mortem can give, the I would wear this merch in public award. Oh man, that was a lot of work. Can't believe I wrote the whole script in a single day. Whoopee. Man, now it's just time to relax, sit down, lounge around in my little trash pile, and chill until the next Wack Or Lit holiday special or something. Hey, wait a second, who are you? What are you, a monkey? I didn't know Josh got a new girlfriend. Hey, what are you doing? Hey, stay back! Get away from me! Ah! Ah!